What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of epic conversations and the host of epic conversations and the host of epic conversations. 2020 innovation. Well, 20. You know what? That phone messed me up. 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Slow down, Dr. Vibe. And 2020 Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, once a month, I host the only online program for dads and fathers in the world that is sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central, Canada's national fatherhood organization. And also once a month, I also am the board chair for an organization called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. It is a multimedia nonprofit, and its role is to provide exposure, and showcase Blacks around the diaspora who are involved in food, wine, and travel. A little bit of a crazy opening, but we're good now. We're good. We're settled now, so we get through. As always, Dr. Vibe, if you know me for a little bit or you know me this bit, love to have new friends on the show. And we have another new friend tonight. Her name is Tiffany J. Norwood. She's the founder and CEO of Your Emotions Matter. And she's an international and transformational speaker, author, certified NLP practitioner. You'll find out about NLP during our conversation, and a certified 6 seconds emotional intelligent practitioner. Six seconds. I'm thinking about Six Sigma. I took Six Sigma a long time. I'm going 6 seconds. It's the largest global organization supporting emotional intelligence growth, EQ, by researching and disseminating the effective tools and methods. She's been featured on ABC, CBS, HBO, Toyota, and Investigative Discovery, ID Network. As a certified NLP practitioner, she addresses communication issues, limiting beliefs, and habits that do not serve the single man and those in premarital relationships. She's also a RAISE ambassador for the RAISE Foundation in Orange County, California, that educates on child abuse and neglect, focusing on keeping children healthy, safe, and happy. And she's going to be sharing with us tonight about an interesting subject, the importance of emotional intelligence and vulnerability for single men. So let us welcome to the stage for the first time, and hopefully not the last time, Tiffany J. Norwood. How are you, Ms. Norwood?
I am awesome, magnificent. How are you, Dr. Vibe?
Blessed, highly favored, magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. Thank you for reaching out to me via Clubhouse and then via Instagram and taking up the invitation of coming on the Dr. Vibe Show. It's appreciated and not taken for granted.
Of course.
And how's the day been for you?
It's been wonderful, just lovely, beautiful. The sun, the air, just blessed, just blessed.
Excellent. Well, what I love to do and what the audience likes to know a little bit more about you, especially since the first time you've been with us. So where you grew up, what was life growing up? Please do share.
Okay. I was born in Long Beach, California, grew up in Carson, California, in the LA area. Growing up was awesome. You know, a close-knit family. We did a lot of things that just was so close-knit, and also we had our issues and we had our dysfunctions as well. But hey, that's life. And just grew up in on that autopilot, and I'll get more into that later, but just grew up in a normal childhood, basically. Just normal. I don't have anything special to say about myself.
Oh, come on. Like, what were your parents like?
Oh my gosh, my parents are beautiful. I would not trade them in for the world. They are my rock. They're the reason why, my sense of humor, my tenacity, my passion, my everything. So I love my parents.
Excellent. Great to hear. And what was school like? How was school?
School was normal. For those who may know, in the LA area, went to Broadacres, Curtis, Banning High, and attended Woodbury University in Burbank.
Oh.
Studied fashion design there.
Okay, hold on now. Okay, hold on. Where'd the love of fashion come from?
It was something I always wanted to do when I was younger. There was two things I wanted to do, was become an actress and or a fashion designer. And I was able to dabble in both of those occupations. So I've been blessed in my years.
Okay, you're not going to get away with that. You were an actress.
Yes.
And
Yes.
how was that experience?
Awesome. It was great. It was great. It's phenomenal. I really love the experience, just everything about it. It's everything about it. I will get back into it, I'm sure, before my days are over.
Okay. And what was the other thing that you were wishing to be when you were growing up? I caught the actress. What was the other thing?
It was a fashion designer.
Okay.
I'm okay with that right now. I am into assisting people with the inside, on how they are on the inside. When I was doing fashion design, it was more on how they look on the outside, which is not as important as it is on the inside.
Okay. Well, fantastic. When when did you know the moment that you wanted to help people on the inside compared on the outside?
This was during my marriage, a challenging time, of course. I was married to someone who was in pain. And of course, the pain was spread it throughout our immediate family, and I became in pain myself. It was emotions that were mismanaged incorrectly, and it just to be blunt, it wreaked havoc on our marriage. So during that time, when I found the term emotional intelligence and began to study and read up on that, I said that's the solution right there. Emotional intelligence is gold, and I want to share that information with the world.
I appreciate you sharing some of the, even if at a high level, some challenges that you had during your marriage. And what I love to see is that you've taken your test and you've made it a testimonial.
Yeah. Yes, I
And
have.
that's really special. For people that don't know what emotional intelligence is, because I've heard that term for many years, because I've had people on the platform who I've talked about emotional intelligence for years, but it seems to becoming a very popular topic or subject these days. So can you give a good definition for our audience of what is emotional intelligence?
Emotional intelligence is the ability to manage your emotions well within yourself and well with others, so that you can come to an outcome that is appropriate and effective, that you both desire. And it's also self motivation as well.
Is the average person aware that they have emotional intelligence, in your opinion?
No, not at all.
And why do you think that is?
That is because, well, emotional intelligence actually only been around, I believe, at this time for about 40 years or so. And like you said, you're starting to hear it more. What we're taught in school is not enough. And it was not taught in school. It's not taught in college. And this is just some information that you have to research. You have to grow. You have to want to grow. You have to want to know, like, what the challenges that you go through in life. You have to want to figure that out, figure out a solution to these problems once and for all. Emotional intelligence is something that we don't know, because we live on autopilot, and our minds are wandering from, the past to the future, and we're not actually mindful of the present moment where we're at right now. And we were taught ever since we were born, like, from just as a child, a baby, we learn that we have hands, we learn that we can, sit up and raise our necks and crawl. And then after that, the whole world, we were just exploring everything outside of us, everything that was external. And that's how we continue to grow up. We had no idea and no education that we needed to focus time on ourselves, understand ourselves as a human being, understand our emotions, understand that there are different centers in our brains that helps us function on a day-to-day basis, that we can, of course, learn about and use to our advantage to live the type of life that we desire.
That is wonderful. I remember one of the first people who came on this show to talk about emotional intelligence, and he talked about a gentleman named Daniel Goldman.
Oh, Yes.
Is
Yes.
that name recognizable?
Yes, yes, Daniel Goleman, where you have to read his book, where EQ, emotional quotient, is more important than IQ. There's geniuses, there's people who, you get your PhD, you get your bachelor's, but it's not as important as your emotional intelligence. And he did write a book about that, and that was actually the first book that I did read. And that's why I'm on this journey today.
Okay, so I can relate. I feel good. I feel good. I remember the name. I want to just shout out watching live Birdie Lynn TV. Thank you so much. She had put this on our calendar from early today. So we're glad that you showed up, and please feel free to add your comments as we go along in the conversation. So and there's something else that you have. You have NLP.
Okay.
So what does NLP, what is that all about? And educate our listeners on what is NLP.
Yes, NLP stands for Neuro Linguistic Programming, and neuro is of the brain, linguistic is of the language, and it's how we were basically programmed through our nervous system and subconscious. It is the study of how human beings communicate and how we perceive communication from others.
So I've got a question for you. Fashion design actress to emotional intelligence NLP. Like that's two different ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
How was like when you started to go down the journey for the emotional intelligence NLP? Did you say, what am I doing here? Or was it something you really dug in and just rolled up your sleeves and got right into it?
Oh, I rolled up my sleeves and got into it, before I mentioned challenges in my marriage. Toxic. It was toxic. It was unhealthy. And I don't wish that on my worst enemy. And once I found emotional intelligence and started digging into that, I said, this is the solution to our issues right here. And I really, and I just continue to get into it. And then I've learned more and more as I began to dive more into it, of mind and body, and just living and just experiencing and just seeing, understanding how our body works. And that's gold right there. You have to understand, you have to have some type of knowledge there. And just everything that just started to flow from there, just confirm that I'm doing the right thing, that everyone needs to know this, because it takes from 6 seconds. Joshua Freeman says that emotional intelligence makes up 80% of success in your lives. Okay.
Wow.
Yes. So
Wow.
when you're dealing with relationships, it doesn't matter if it's intimate with your parents, children, it doesn't matter. I want everyone to have on their heart healthy relationships, and emotional intelligence is the way to get there.
Wonderful. So I love it that the first time you come on the Dr. Vibe show, you pick such a light topic. the importance
I'll make it easy for you.
the importance of emotional intelligence and vulnerability for single men. Why did you want to start off with this? Don't you like something easy, young lady? You're going to the mountaintop right at the beginning?
You know what? I mean, you only live once. You only live once. Believe me, my whole life was a piece of cake. Hello, it's time. It's time to go ahead and go for the gusto, Dr. Vibe. There's no more time for just getting by and just, being comfortable and just being like, okay, with the okie doke and the mediocre. No, it's time to get down to business.
So then I'm going to come back. Why did you want to address this subject? What was the thought process behind this?
The thought process was my struggles. It was my struggles being in a toxic marriage. That's why. It's, there was abuse parent there, and it was the things that I didn't know back then that I know now, that if, of course, as we all know, that if we knew that, then things would have been a lot different. So it's a lot of important information to learn now. I'm here to break that learning curve. It took me a lot of years to experience, a lot of years of study to get to where I am, but I'm here to shorten that learning curve for you and others to be able to change your life around a lot quicker.
And why specifically talking or addressing young men in regards to this subject?
Yes, young men. The thing about them being wrongly taught to suppress their emotions, and the man up thing, and the boys don't cry, you're weak if you do, you are, you're a sissy, all that bull needs to go. That's old school talk. That is not the right way. Young men, single men, all men are human beings, and their emotions are their lifeline. Your emotions are how you function in this world, and you have to. There's no reason why it should have been suppressed, and why they have that 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 particular lifestyle that has not served them at all. So that is why it is. You said something when I first seen your bio. You said something to the point that we have better men, we have a better world,
Yeah.
and that's why I just latched onto you right away, because that's really the answer to your question. Because we have better men, we're going to have better world.
Oh, I thank you for agreeing with me in regard to that, because I think, and again, it's my opinion. People can push back on it. That the better men are, the better the world will be. So
Yeah.
we're in agreement on that. So where do you want to start this conversation? Where do you? I'm just going to steer the ship. You're going to drive the ship tonight on our conversation. Where do you want to start on our journey tonight in regards to this subject?
Yes, I just want to start to speak to those who are interested in and having healthy relationships. That's what it boils down to. When I started Your Emotions Matter, initially it was to provide a safe space online where those who are struggling in unhealthy relationships can have a place to go. Being in that position, I understand when you're going through things, you do not want people to know what you're going through. You're ashamed, you're embarrassed, and you don't talk to your family, you don't talk to your best friends about the hardships that are happening behind closed doors in your marriage or your relationship. And it's just that suffering in silence piece that I wanted to address. And I also want to address, all of the dirt that's being swept up under the rug. No one talks about this issue. No one is talking about abuse. No one is talking about I would say, okay, not no one. Nowadays it's starting to come out more, but it hasn't always been a popular conversation. Let me go ahead and correct myself on that one. But we want to bring more awareness of this. We want to bring more awareness of emotional intelligence on how to knock those issues out, and how to become more self-aware through emotional intelligence, starting there, of course, and just learning more to be able to have successful, happy, trustworthy, honest, just beautiful relationships. So we can start there on having healthy relationships.
Let me ask, and thank you for sharing and setting the foundation as we go along this journey. Do you feel that, and it's a hard question because it's a generalization, do you think that many men or most men are not educated about healthy relationships? Just your thought.
Yeah, just for the most part, I don't feel that they're educated on that. They, again, with them being told to suppress their emotions, that is part of why certain relationships are unhealthy, because there is a gap, a really huge gap between them and their partner, to where now, okay, I won't go ahead. There's a gap between them and their partner that can cause conflict in their relationship. And when a person shuts down, when a person is not emotionally available, when a person does not want to express their feelings or open up, how can you build trust? How can you have a successful relationship? That just brings confusion and frustration when someone wants to shut down. And it just depends on their upbringing and what type of examples that they have. For instance, like I was saying before, we have beautiful parents. So I look at my twin brother, And I don't see the unhealth in him. He's a beautiful man because he had beautiful examples. So it just depends on their upbringing and what they witnessed. If they witnessed the abuse, they're going to carry that on. If they witnessed anything that was of negative, they're going to carry it on because they were not taught to look within. They were not taught to look within themselves and to do that self work on them, and to, because they're driven by society, and that part right there, that they have to learn to self motivate themselves as opposed to society motivating them. Like they have to feel like, oh, I gotta have to have this house, I have to have this car, or she won't like me, or I can't say this, or she won't like me, or what, this and that, or I'm defined by my achievements. No, you're defined by who you are as a human being. That's what you're defined by. And we got to get rid of this old society propaganda, because society is no one but just your neighbor, your parents, Tyrone down at the liquor store, that person over there in the grocery store. Who is society? Society has to up their game as well, and it has to learn a lot more as well. So why are you accustoming your life towards somebody who doesn't even know no more than you do? And that part right there is, if anyone can take anything away from this conversation, take that part away from it. You have to learn how to self-motivate yourself and live a life according to the way you want to live it, no matter if you feel, if you have to come out of the closet, or if you're trans, it doesn't matter. If you want to cry, go to the barbershop and cry. It doesn't matter. Those guys don't know nothing in there. If they can't sit there and hold space for you, they are the wrong people for you. They're not, worthy to be near you or in your life. But we have to learn and teach everyone this so we can become more congruent and in harmony with each other, moving towards better relationships. Of course, not only in our personal lives, but just friendships and business relationships. It's just falling apart out there. It's a sad scene. And I'm, like I said, I'm climbing to the top of the mountain, and I'm screaming. I'm screaming at the top of the mountain that this needs to be known.
Tiffany,
Yes.
you're doing an incredible job.
Thank you.
And just be you. Whether it's on this conversation or after this conversation, I felt your heart. I felt your energy, especially when you were talking about your brother. I know that there is some pain there. But you know what? The pain is going to lead to passion. And I see the passion that you have for your brother and for many men out there. So I just want to take a moment of quietness and peace before we go on. Is that fair?
That's fair. Thank you so much.
Let's just have a moment of quietness. Okay. Let's move forward. Helping men. A lot of people would say a lady that wants to help men, that's a tall order. Well, that was a different body reaction than what I had a few moments ago. Okay, warrior, empress. All right.
Yes, I am a conqueror, and I prevail, baby boy.
Received. We spent the last few minutes on some of the unfortunate impacts that you're seeing. When you, pardon me, and experienced, more fully experienced than you here. When you have the opportunity to have men share with you, especially the first time, because people need to hear this. How are you able for them to open up to you?
First of all, it's my interest in them, number one, and letting them know that it's okay, and giving them some information that they may have not heard before, and just holding that space, not being judgmental, uh, listening, allowing them to actually speak and say what's on their heart. I will sit and listen. I'm a listener. I don't, right now I have to talk, but I would love to listen. I really do. I want you to get it out, because that, when someone is in a conversation and they're being shut down, that's not a productive conversation. So when, holding that space for them and just being there, and allowing them to express what's on their heart, no matter what it is, and just building that trust with them, and letting them know that I'm here to help you make it right, because we have a long way to go, but we can do this.
Love that. We have a long way to go, but we can do this.
Yes,
Love that. Do you mind if I use that?
you can use it. If you're listening, use whatever I say, because this is a joint effort. When I built Your Emotions Matter, it wasn't just, oh, I'm an emotional intelligence NLP practitioner, let me just help a person one by one. I'm here to build a community of practitioners, coaches, therapists, counselors that people can reach out to when they need help, and let the men know that it is okay to say, I need help. It's okay to say you need emotional support. It's okay to be there for your brother. It's okay to get rid of those mind those limiting beliefs in your mind, thinking that you're going to be shown as at fault, or that you're going to be you know constantly triggered in therapy, and or that someone is there just to tell you what to do, or that they know your life better than you. They may not know your life, but if they know what a human being is and how we function, then they do know a little bit more than you do. So it is something that you want to try out. You do want to, and if you do not succeed with your first encounter with someone to help you, they're humans too. So you want to take some time and fish around. Do you buy the first house you go to if you're house hunting? Do you buy the first car that you see when you go out car shopping? Same thing with a therapist. You want to go shop around. You want to be, you want to have some type of connection and some rapport with the person that you're seeking to give you help. So you don't just stop at the first one and say, oh no, that didn't work, so I'm not doing this anymore. It's laying the ego aside. It's laying you're there in a relationship. There's only two people there, actually three with God, but it's you and her. And it needs to be opened up. It's not three people there. That ego is not, no. That your ego is not your amigo. And I just want to just throw that.
Ooh, Tiffany J is dropping knowledge bombs. Can you say that your ego? Say that line again.
Your ego is not your amigo. And if I knew how to hold my tongue, I would, but I
Boom.
can't.
You need to trademark that, young lady. That is that's point. That's a knowledge bomb. That's a knowledge bomb right there.
Yes.
I have the privilege, blessing, and opportunity to help men. I don't like the phrase work with men. I like to help with men, because if it was work, I wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
I like to help men. And one of the things that I've gathered is that there are many men that are out there that are screaming and nothing's coming out. Would you agree with that? And would you like to expand on the statement I just made?
I know you're right, and that's another reason why I latched on to you, is because you work with men. Your passion is with the men, the dads and the fathers, and uh, you see, that the struggle is real with them. We don't want the men to get it together after the second divorce, or after the first divorce, or when their children don't speak to them anymore, and or when they don't have that civil relationship with their ex. I can go down the line. Oh, that is unnecessary. It can be eliminated. It doesn't have to be that way. And we want to let them know that when you decide to do your self-work and you decide to learn more than what you were taught in school, which was, are you using it now? No. When you want to grow, that's when you will see changes in your life.
Wonderful. When you started to work with men, was it easy to start?
Yes. Yes. It was easy to start because what I'm finding is that men are just not too much different than we are as women. And I don't look at it as a woman or a man thing. I look at it as a human being thing. You know, we do have our differences, of course, that's obvious. However, when it comes to emotions, it's all the same. And even though we're speaking, to the men on this call, this is important information for the women as
Yes,
well,
it
because
is.
they're in the same boat, because they were not taught emotional intelligence. So when somebody decides to shut down, then the other person is going to shut down. When somebody decides to say, hey, fuck you, then the other person is going to say, well, fuck you too. So it's just going to be a vicious cycle of unhealthiness and years and years and years going by with no change. It's unnecessary.
I'm in a myriad of conversations with men these days, and I'm going to make sure we don't leave out the word vulnerability.
Yeah.
Talk about vulnerability and single men.
Vulnerability in single men. Just digging into why relationships are unhealthy, or even getting to the point of having a relationship. I've heard people say that, they're not honest up front, or they don't know who they are, or they're not really good at what happened to them, or expressing themselves. And that, of course, that's understandable. It was the way they were taught, so it wasn't their fault. But when someone is, or excuse me, a woman is looking for a new relationship and she's getting to know someone, then it could be a blockage there when he's not open with her, when he's not being vulnerable with her, when he's not opening up his feelings and really just being who he is, as opposed to trying to be too much to where he wants her to like him, and or to get his way, whatever the case may be. That's a blockage there. And women with us, and even though we still need to learn emotional intelligence, we know when someone's not opening up. We know when someone is closed off, and when he's not being himself. So it's something that just in the initial stages should be worked on, as well as even in a relationship. Vulnerability builds trust. If you're not vulnerable, then you're just blocking the other person out. And how can that person trust you? And there's a lot of people who have the trust issues. And if, hey, if you're with someone that's doing that, that's why. So you want to be open. And that's why I go towards the single men, because they are in the space to start over. Let's leave the past in the past. What happened back there is what happened. We all have our past. We all have things we can improve upon. But this is your time to take time out for you. This is your time to become self-aware, to learn your likes, your dislikes, your habits, your reoccurring habits, and your everything that goes on with you. Taking time to feel your emotions, taking time to understand them. Your emotions are your body's way of communicating with you. Like, if you're not listening to them and you're suppressing them every time the going gets rough, you are sending, like, you're just sending communication like away from you. And you need to be there within it and just listen to it and feel it. And it doesn't always have to feel good. We're used to feeling good to where we'll go out and do drugs and have sex and go gambling just to feel better. That is masking everything, but you're going to still go back to what brought you there in the first place. So just learning how to be with your emotions is very, very, very important, and learning to listen to them, because it's information, data that's there to give you, to help you along life's path.
You know what? There's going to be a part two of this conversation, because as you're sharing, it's like a list of pancakes of different things I want to just have you share about. So I'm going to just um, some of the experience I've had.
Mm.
How much of an impact does a single man's relationship have with his father?
Oh gosh.
And so before I let you, because I want you, I know you got a lot to share on this, so I'm gonna bring this up, and I've shared it on previous conversations I've had before. A number of years ago, I had a chance to host a session called Minding Our Minds, and the session was for Black fathers talking about mental health.
Oh.
So 2 days before the event, we only had 3 registrations.
Oh.
The night of the event, I want you to guess how many fathers showed up.
Oh. Oh gosh. None.
40.
Oh. Okay. Awesome.
So I had my flip chart already, but a divine thing came through me and said, why don't you ask these men, many of them who didn't know each other, a simple question? And the question I had for them was, how many of the men here have or had a good relationship, have a good relationship with their father, or had a good relationship with their father? How many hands do you think went up?
Just a few.
2.
Yeah.
So I put away my flip chart, and that's where we landed for 3.5 hours.
Mm.
So I share that story for the audience, but I also shared that story so I could appetize the main course you're going to bring in regards to that subject of single men, vulnerability, and the relationship with their father. The mic is yours.
That particular piece with their dad, I'm still personally working on. I've been more focused with the relationship with their, intimate partner. However, I can just only imagine.
Mm.
And I do hear the stories, and I do hear, the disconnect there. And um, just what I can say about that at this point in time is very sensitive for them both, and it's something that we you have to be open, and that vulnerability piece has to come into play here on both ends. It's at this time it's a man with a man, not dad and son. It's two men, and the young man looks up to his dad, and he needs his dad to guide and to rear him. And the dad was taught the same thing, which is why he's teaching him, that of push away your emotions. Boys are not to cry. So it's the education that both of them need, and they just have to be open to it. Just be open to change, and be open to receiving new information, and just working your way out of a way that just was not working before. And emotional intelligence I call it a lifestyle change. Once you learn, and once you start practicing it in your own life and assisting others as well, because if you're better, you're going to be better for other people. It's something you practice all the time. It's something you're more mindful with. It's something you're more intentional and more conscious with. And it takes work. We're going to fall down, but we'll get up. But it's going to get better and better as time goes on, and then you will get to a better place with your parents, your dad, and even in a woman's place with her mom. In any particular, it's an effort that needs to be made with everyone. It's not a superior issue. I'm your dad, you do what I say. It's an effort that everyone needs to work towards.
Well, I'm speaking it that you and I will keep in touch, because I would love to hear when you arrive at that component,
Yeah.
with some of the single men that you're
Mhm.
working with? Because to me, when man, single, married, whatever, can talk about his dad honestly and openly, you'll find out a lot about that person.
Yes, you said it right there.
That's a whole different layer
Yeah.
of depth. What are some of the common challenges you're hearing with the men that you are helping?
The common challenges is how do I not lash out? How can I control myself? And how can I communicate better? I may cut her off. I may start to yell. I may shut down. And so, in a nutshell, it's that communication piece. That's why I wanted to bring together NLP and emotional intelligence and work on it on both ends of the spectrum and say we can work on all of that because it works together. We want to be able to understand another person and have empathy with that person, understand that they have feelings too, understand that um, have patience, learn patience. I mean, that's real. I remember early on in my relationship, I laid a note down and said, please be patient with me. And it it's something that probably I mean it's here and there, but it was a big thing. It's a big thing. So it's a lot of things. It's just basically going within yourself, going within and understanding you better. Get to know yourself just like you would get to know someone new. Get to know yourself and do that self introspection on a consistent basis. This is not something you do once or twice and then you're going to be good. This is again a lifestyle change and something that you have to be mindful of and practice as much as you can.
When you when you help men, when you start with them, what you help them with and the way you do it, do many men find this a total new concept and it takes them time to start the journey?
It just depends on them. It's some are already on it, but just need some assistance with it. Some it is totally new for them, but they listen. The men they listen. They're not gonna go and start challenging you and start going and then having excuses or anything. They listen and it's a beautiful thing because I love it. I mean, it's a beautiful thing, and they want to know. And when they come back and say thank you, and when they come back and say, I really appreciated your help, or that advice was, just amazing. Like that. That's what I live for.
Mm, mm. If you are comfortable enough, I'd love you to share a success story.
Okay. I was assisting a young man who was in a toxic relationship with a friend. It was of the opposite sex, and um, just basically she was just in a friendship with him because she needed his help, and she was using him. And he also wanted something from her as well, to and everyone needs companionship, everyone needs someone to be there for them. So it just went along the way, but it came a point in time where he did realize that it wasn't healthy for them. I mean, for him, he was putting aside his own goals and his own dreams and things that he wanted to do in his career for himself to help her out and to assist her in what she doing and what she needed from him. So he just totally neglected himself. And again, that's something that you don't want to do in any relationship, is neglect yourself. So I, assisted him with that situation and just gave him some information. I have a lot of articles on my blog that give good information there. I sent them a few of those pieces because it was something that I also wanted to get him to understand as well. But he did that, in that relationship did end, and it did take some time and some struggle to because he really felt like, she it was that was a revenge piece, like I want her to get what she deserves type of thing. And it's not about that. It's not about, the revenge. I just wrote an article called 4 Ways to Know That You're Healed. And then prior to that, 6 ways to let go of your past. And that's something, that I had sent him as well. And I was working with him on those particular competencies. So it's just getting him to a place of being more mindful of himself and understanding that you do have to let go at some point when it's not healthy, and that it's okay. And it's okay if she let you go. If you didn't do it, it's okay. Again, the ego has to disappear in these situations. You just have to be grateful that it happened now and not 5 years down the line and not 10 years down the line, that it happened now. Things, people come in and out of our lives, and we just want to be careful with the type of relationships that we foster with these people. We do want them to be healthy. And that is something that's my main goal, is a healthy relationship. And that healthy relationship starts with yourself. So you have to really do some soul digging within to be able to know that your time is precious with yourself and with who you spend time with.
Excellent. What are some things that some women, I'm not going to say all women, misunderstand when it comes to men, in your opinion?
They may think that he's like they are. They don't understand that he's struggling. They don't understand that. And they want to know, they want to be there, and they want to know what's wrong, and they want you to open up. But they don't understand that it's a struggle for you. And they don't understand that you just don't know. And you're not going to tell them you don't, but they don't know that. So that's the struggle with them, that they need that, but they just don't understand what's going on in his head, in his mind, in his heart.
Interesting. There's so many different avenues, but such little time. But that's why there's going to be a part 2. When do you know you've helped a single man?
I know I've helped him when he expresses his appreciation, when he can tell me that he is doing better, that the situation that he came to me about is no longer there, that it has gotten better, and that he was able to move past it and start, along his journey in a more positive and healthy direction.
Okay. I had mentioned this before we went live that there may be some questions. So we got one from, of course, Birdie Lynn. She's got actually 2 coming up for you. So the first one, what questions do women have to ask?
Oh, okay. What questions do women have to ask?
In regards to, getting closer, getting a man to open up, to show his vulnerability? Good question.
It is a good question, and I'm just going to be just real careful with it, and I just want the women to be real careful with it as well, because just a question that they ask could potentially put him off even more, because again, this is something that he's struggling with and he does not have the answers to, and he wasn't taught this way, with his emotions. So it's really hard to say what you can ask. It's just a thing of you're understanding this, number one, and understanding his position and being patient with him. But just let him know that you're there for him. It's basically what you do in response to this to him that will trigger him in certain ways. But you want to hold that space. You want to be patient. You don't want to question him too much. You do want to, you can ask him what's wrong. Let me know I'm here. Digging, going deeper. What you want to do is be his peace. You want to be the one that he can open up to. You can't be the one who's chop, 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 chop. Well, what? We gotta something. We as women gotta reel in. Our I don't want to call it nagging or anything, but when we talk a lot, we want to reel that in because we don't want to force something and we don't want to make it worse or irritate a situation that's sensitive to begin with. So it's as far as questions, just be careful with that. And whatever comes to your heart, you can ask. But if he does not know the answer, then just be patient with that.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think also timing is a key variable because you may be going into an area that he's definitely, a lot of them are not used to going. So timing is going to be very key. And I always say, before you develop a relationship, develop your friendship.
Say that again. Say that again, Dr.
Vibe. Well, I had to come up with some because you've been dropping so many knowledge bombs tonight. Before you have a relationship, you've got to have a friendship.
Yes, that's something that I just forgot to say that I even got around with. But hello. So that we had to repeat that. Say that louder for those in the back of the room, Dr.
Okay. Before you have a relationship, make sure you have, before you have a relationship, make sure you have a friendship. Because so many times when I helping men and the relationship is gone, I ask the guy a question and I ask, were you ever good friends? And it is surprising how many times you hear the answer, no. I'll leave it at that. If you want to add to that, Tiffany, you can.
We have to have a moment of silence on that one because, oh my gosh, and I'm gonna just go ahead and say it. I have the opportunity.
Please
We're human beings, not
you're in a safe embrace space, so go ahead.
Okay, we're human beings. We're not animals, so we have to definitely use our reasoning in every move we make. I mentioned being intentional. I mentioned being conscious and mindful, being present, and knowing what you want. It's just not being out to get the booty. Okay. We want healthy relationships. We want long lasting relationships. Having to have kids and then have to split up, having to divorce, that stuff is hard. That's not easy. And it can definitely be rectified. But it has to start from the beginning, because when a person gets into a relationship, the reason why they break up, that those issues are apparent in the beginning, but it was ignored and it was just passed by, just swept under the rug, just to have somebody there with you, just to have somebody there to say I love you or I like you or I want to take you out or let's do this, let's do that. Yeah, that feels good and that's good, but you have to hold back if that's not the right person for you. And you have to be able to and be willing to let it go. You don't stay in a relationship because of money, because of sex, because of what someone can do for you, and you're not contributing. I mean, I can go on down the line, but the first thing that you need to do, that's why I work with single people, because you have that opportunity to start now. Start right now to do it right moving forward. I don't reach back in the past, and we don't have to rehash none of that. We can talk about it and then we can get it up in the front, but we can work that out quickly. But it's dealing with what's going on right now that's holding you back. What's going on right now that that you need to have questions with, and we're going to move forward with each step moving forward in the right direction. So yes, I can't agree with you more on that.
I will add two more things.
Whew. Yes.
That many times, and again, in those same situations, I will ask the gentleman, and sometimes it's a lady too, separately,
Of course.
weren't there things along the way? Weren't there red flags along the way? Yes. And then
Yeah.
I would say, why didn't you call it out right there?
You know what? You know what? If the education needs to be had, because I can answer that question just personally. And it's sometimes it's not like you don't call it out. Sometimes you do call it out, but it's not resolved. You know, being called out my name, and being treated in a certain way, and then of course it was reciprocated. I'm no angel. It's that, again, you're not mindful of what you're doing. Again, you're on autopilot. You don't know what it is, how hurtful you're being towards another person. And it's most people look at it as normal because it just keeps going happening. It's not normal, it's not healthy. And you just go day to day with your normal responsibilities of work and home life, and just doing whatever. You don't stop to really understand why these behaviors are detrimental to your relationship. And of course, that's going to trickle down to your children and to everyone else who's around. So it's just the you have to be mindful and understand that understand why things go awry. And that's why emotional intelligence is so important, because there is a way that you can reel back how you feel. There's a way that you can, I mean, initially you can't control how you feel, but you can change that around. There is a way that you can respond instead of react off of every little thing that happens. Um, when I decided to stop, caring about things, my life got so much easier. Like, you can't care what people think. You can't care about what somebody's gonna do or say or anything. Like, you have to just totally, I don't give a you know what. And that is piece right there is really important, because you want to be able to be free to be you, and free to express yourself, and be free to do what you want to do regardless. Because I don't know, I could just go on and on with this,
Part
but
two. That's what we have,
yeah.
part two.
I mean, I'm sitting here forgetting what the question was, but I could just go on and on.
Well, let me
Like,
get okay. And you know something? The people here are loving you, because Birdie Lynn has at least two more questions, and and both people that are here providing questions and commentary are very much care about and are great supporters. But Birdie Lynn has another question asking, how can you tell a man is not toxic, or on the other way, how can you tell a man is toxic?
I like the not toxic question,
Yes, yes.
because we I'm sure we can get on part two on the toxic stuff,
Yeah.
because you're gonna notice it. But the same thing with not toxic. He is going to make you feel safe and very comfortable. He's going to treat you in a way, and be careful with this in the beginning, because we not getting into certain type of behaviors that the ones that put on the show in the beginning, and then they change up later on. We're not talking about those, but I'm just talking about just a overall good man. You're going to know right away. Women, listen to your intuition always. You're going to know right away when someone is for you. And it will be the way he treats you. It will be him being able to open up. I'm not talking all about every single guy. I never generalize and never say everyone is the same way. I never want to do that. But the right one is, you're gonna know it. You're gonna know it.
Okay.
You listen to your emotions and how you feel.
Ryan Singh, I support the show. I really love my wife, but I pushed her away before we were married because she was so nice. I didn't want to hurt her. Now we are good friends with pain. We are working on it.
Okay.
That's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
honest.
Thank you, Ryan.
That is really good stuff. Thank you, Ryan, for sharing. And I know Ryan and I know his wife, and they're a beautiful couple. And even strong people struggle.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we're going to be working on being better for the rest of our lives. I'm still learning. I want to hear more. I want to help more. And it is no shame in going through things and no shame in feeling pain. That's what we do as human beings. We're going to have it. And he said he didn't want to hurt her, because he knew something about himself. That's some self-awareness right there, so I can commend you on that, Ryan. But you do have to back up and start being friends. If that's, you're married, that just kind of rewind your relationship and kind of, start over. I remember asking my husband, can we just start over? And that's me doing the best I could back then, and being told no. So it's just like, hello, it's a struggle sometimes. But when your head is in your intentions in the relationship is to push it towards a healthy direction, your actions will follow.
Nice. Now there are two questions from Bertie. Bertie Lynn's become president of your fan club, by the way. She's got what are methods to implement emotional intelligence in business? Do you think the corporate world handles or gives space to male and female emotional intelligence? Two very good questions.
These are really good questions. We do have to do
Part
that
two.
second piece
Oh
here.
yeah.
Yeah. What I will say in a short answer to this is that emotional intelligence is the same across the board, far as personal or in business. So when you do learn it, you're going to learn how to handle all of this. The corporate world don't give space to nobody. They just give space on them. They give space for their bottom line. They want whatever it is they hired you for to get done. They hand you your paycheck and that's it. And something about that is they have to become more emotional intelligent in their dealings with as managers and as CEOs and corporations as well, understanding that real people are working for them. Human beings are working for them, not robots. And so it's we're not going to get into the male female thing. It's a human being thing. So it's emotional intelligence is for everyone, every entity, every company, every relationship. It's a global thing. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. Loving it. Loving it. Well, I think we'll end it right there because there is now officially going to be a part two.
Okay. Okay.
With
Yeah.
your with your permission.
Yes, I am. I feel honored to come back. I just want to say to the men that you guys are just beautiful. I love you. You are heard. You are seen. You are understood. You're appreciated. You are warriors and conquerors. And I am here for you. We are here for you. Reach out, and I would love to speak with you and see how I can help you on your journey to emotional intelligence.
This is wonderful. And we're just showing, if you're watching this live on the replay, we're just taking a look at the Your Emotions Matter website. Now there's a little video there. If you click on Tiffany, and there's everything here that you need to know. Loving her little messages on the board, and it's really cool. And she
So,
basically
article.
shares. Yep, she's got articles there. She's got everything you need to know. There's testimonials there. And she says, give her a call. She has a program there for you if you want to take that real next step to move forward. But you gotta love, and I said this to her when we were chatting offline before we came on live. Those shoes are serious. those shoes are serious. So if you're only listening to this, you've got to go to youremotionsmatter.com to see the shoes. But also, and I just want to have you chat about the significance of the mirror and all those emotions that are on it. Do share it with our audience.
Thank you for asking that. I've always found that when people go see my website, they didn't know what they were actually looking at, and so I'm glad you asked me that question so I can explain what that is. Like you said, is an actual mirror. As you can see, it's reflecting the sky. The sky is there, and the mirror symbolizes self-reflection and self-awareness, and that is a prerequisite to emotional intelligence. So you have to definitely look in the mirror, and it's not what you see physically, it's what you see on the inside. Look into the soul of your eyes, and that's what you want to pay attention to. And I've had this, this concept in my mind for the last, even way before Your Emotion Matters was born, like years ago, to where I wanted to use that mirror as a symbolization of self-reflection and just put those emotions on top of the mirror, because we feel everything. We feel all emotions, and emotions there are what I want to not another I want to knock this out here is that no emotion is negative. All emotions are valid. Everything that you feel has a reason. There's a reason you feel that. Emotions are a constant flow within your body. It's how you function on a day-to-day basis. And men, you function with your emotions all the time. You're just not aware of it. You just have to become more in tune with it. And when you do, you will feel the difference. However, just with the mirror there, it's just showing the different emotions that you feel, and that every single one of them are valid.
Wonderful. So, folks, that is coming to the end of part 2 of our epic conversation is coming up. I'm just going to put up on the screen here, if you're watching, if you want to get in contact with Tiffany, there's her website address. You can also find her on Twitter. You can also find her on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. And she's even on LinkedIn. But just put Your Emotions Matter, Google it, or whatever search engine you want to use, and you will get this wonderful warrior with everything she has to share. Tiffany, I'd like to say thank you for taking the time to share with us today. I'd like to say thank you for what you have done, what you are doing, and what you're going to be doing to especially help single men and men in general. We need more of you, so don't quit.
Thank you.
All
Thank
right.
you. You are very welcome. And I thank you, Dr. Vi, for having me here and for this fruitful conversation that we had. Yes, I will be seeing you soon.
Absolutely. My name is Dr. Vibe. I'm the host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations. I'm the host of Epic Conversations. 2020 Podcast News Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and 2018 Innovation Award given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association. Also, I host the only online conversation that is for fathers and dads, the only one in the world for that group, or those two groups. That's sponsored by Dove Men Care. It's also co-sponsored by Dad Central Canada's National Fatherhood Organization. Also, too, I am the board chair for an organization called the Global Food and Drink Initiative. And the aim of the Global Food and Drink Initiative is to highlight Blacks in the diaspora that are involved in food, wine, and travel. So go check out that website, GFDI, Global Food and Drink Initiative. I also would like to thank the people who caught some of this conversation live. Some of the people, Junior, Birdie, Lynn, and Ryan, thank you. And others, I don't remember you. It's my head, not my heart. Like to leave with this. Oh, actually, one other thing. There's my website address there on the screen. So if you want to, all things Dr. Vibe originate from there. The drvibeshow.com. I close off with this. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions. Then aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. And remember to give yourselves grace. God bless. Peace to all. Keep the faith. Walk good. And we'll see you soon. And remember again, give yourselves grace. Goodbye, everybody.